श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदा शिवसमाभां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिनीम् व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः मुकारो अन्धकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वं भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्म विद्या आचार्याय नचिकेतसे नमः। So we are entering to the last phase of this Kaṭha Upaniṣad. There are 6 sections in 2 chapters. We completed almost 5 sections. That means first chapter and the second chapter, 2 sections. And of course, the central theme of the Upanishad is Jiva Ishvara Ekatva Jnanam, the oneness of the individual self and the Lord. There is no separation between Lord and the individual self. This being the topic of each and every Upanishad, every verse will be talking about this oneness of the individual soul or self and the Lord. Here, before entering to the 3rd section of the 2nd chapter, we will see what we have gone through in the last class. That verse, which is very famous and it's very often used in every temple when they do the special arati to the Lord. Those who have visited India and those who have visited temple, they must be witnessed. They will witness that doing an arati with a lamp to the Lord and chanting this mantra. That famous mantra is the last mantra of the 2nd section of 2nd chapter, which we have already gone through. But I will read and I will say once more, then we will go to the 3rd section. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyudo bhanti kuto yam agnihi tameva bhantamanupadi sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamitam vibhati. Once more I will read. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyudo bhanti kuto yam agnihi tameva bhantamanupati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamitam vibhati. The all-pervasive Lord, which is in the form of consciousness, Lord Yama, reveals the secret of the death and birth of an individual. He disclosed the matter that there is no death and birth for an individual. From the ultimate standpoint, body is subject to birth, so that body is subject to death. But the intrinsic nature of the body, which is consciousness, that has some features. That main features are, it is self-effulgent and self-evident. Self-effulgent and self-evident. What is meant by self-effulgent? Mostly in this world, all the living beings and all other things in the creation depend upon some other things for its existence. So they are not independent by themselves. A human body is depending upon the vital force. We breathe air so that we can survive. We have to take food, then only we can survive. There is a gravitational force working for our existence in this world properly. So this human body is depending upon so many things for its survival. Whether it is a sentient thing or an insentient thing in the creation, it's not independent. It's depending upon some other thing for its survival. But the all-pervasive Lord, who is the intrinsic nature of each and everything in this creation, is totally independent, self-effulgent. Because it is self-effulgent, it will give all other things to be effulgent. All the living beings and all the inner things in the creation lent the satta, the effulgence from this ultimate reality. So it is self-effulgent, self-evident. There is no need of any senses for its existence. In order to prove something, we have eyes. I have seen him. I listened to that voice. Then only people will say, oh, you listened. You are the proof for seeing that person. You listened to that sound. So we identify this world with our senses. We interact with this world with our senses. Panchendriyaha. All our five senses we use to interact with the world. Really, for the existence of this Atma, Brahman, the intrinsic nature of a human being, that consciousness, in order to be evident, there is no need of senses. I already mentioned you, if somebody asks you, do you exist in this world? Without employing my senses, immediately I used to say to that person, I exist in this world. I am being self-evident. I immediately replied to that question that I exist, I am, because I am self-evident without employing my senses. eyes, ears, etc. My existence is being evident to me. So, self effulgent and self evident both are characteristics of this Brahman, this all pervasive Atman, which is our individual self. Lending this self effulgence, lending this evidence, all other things seems to be existing in this world. Without a basic thing, there is no superimposition. Similarly, when you see your body, that body being superimposed on some other reality. I don't know what is that, but I can see my body. Body is unreal. When you study the scriptures, you come to know that body is unreal. But to have an unreal thing, there should be a real thing into that base, into that superimposed thing. Without something, you cannot have an unreal thing. There is something real. Without the clay, there is no pot. Without the gold, there is no ornament. Similarly, without this self, without this Brahman, without this all-pervasive consciousness, there is no creation. Because of this, everything seems to be there is Atman, that consciousness being there, which is the true nature. So, natatra suryo bhadi. Sun cannot have any kind of capacities or abilities if there is no self behind the sun. Sun can only be an inert thing when there is no self at all. Sun exists because of this self. Natatra suryo bhati, na chandra taragam. Of course, moon and stars are also seems to be existing in the world due to the presence of the consciousness behind them. Suryaha, sun, Chandraha, moon, Tarakam, star, they are the illuminaries which we see right now in this universe. When we look at the sky in the night, you see all these illuminaries. Because of the shining of this consciousness, they seems to be shining. They are lending the shining from this individual soul, this consciousness. Whatever features are there for this consciousness, it is being seen through the sun, moon, and the stars. And Nema Vidyuto Bhanti Kutoyam Agnihi. Of course, thunder and fire are also seems to be alive, having the capacity to burn others, and having the capacity to shine and in brilliance. Why? How? Due to the presence of Brahman, due to the presence of Atman behind them. Without the presence of Brahman, there will be no fire, there will be no lightning or thunder, there will be no sun, there will be no moon, of course, there will be no stars in the sky. Because of the presence of the Brahman as the base of creation, each and everything in this world have its own place and its own capacities to do certain things in the creation. Tameva bhantam anubadi sarvam. This Brahman, this individual self, have the capacity of self-evident and self-effulgent. This being self-evident and self-effulgent, it won't depend upon any other thing for its capacities. From this self, all other living beings and all other inert things in the world seems to be existing and seems to be having their capacities in this creation. A sun can shine, fire can burn, water can flow, a tree can grow, eyes can see something, ears can listen something. By whose presence? By the presence of this Atman, this Brahman, the all-pervasive Lord. Because of his capacity, everybody seems to be alive in this world. Without the presence of this Brahman, nothing can be alive in this world. There will be no creation at all. Whatever we see, because it's a glory of this all-pervading Brahman. Any glory of the ears are it can listen everything. Glory of the eyes are it can see everything. Glory of the tongue, it can taste the food, it can speak also. Any glory in this world, it is due to the presence of this all-pervading Lord. So, tameva bhantam, because of this effulgence, his effulgence, all other things seems to be effulgent. Tameva bhantam, because this all-pervading Brahman have the capacity with a lot of glories, all others seems to be having lot of capacities. Tasya bhasa sarvamitam vibhati. By his effulgence, all other things seems to be effulgent. This being effulgent, like fire has the capacity to have heat and light. When you put some water or milk in the fire, it will become heat. It will draw the heat from the fire. Similarly, fire will also draw the heatness, draw every glories from Brahman only. The shining, the capacity to burn others, everything, each and every capacity is brought from this all-pervading Brahman. Without the presence of this Brahman, fire will not have any capacities. it will be inert in this world. Tasya bhasa, because of the presence of this Brahman, each and everything in the creation seems to be sentient, and also they seems to be existing in this world, even though they are unreal. Something behind them is existing, so that they also seems to be existing. Just like rope is the real thing which exists in the dark room. When we don't realize that the rope is there, we just superimpose a snake because of the existence of rope, and we don't know that it is a rope. The existence is being grasped by my senses, by touching with my feet. Then I came to know something is existing, but I don't know clearly what exists there. Similarly, the all-pervasive Lord is not being understood by the samsaris, the ordinary people, which being the base of entire creation. Because this Brahman being the base of entire creation, each and everything in the creation seems to be existing. Without that, there will be no existence of anything in the world. Tasya bhasa, because of its existence, because of its effulgence, everything seems to be effulgent. This is the base of entire creation. This is the truth. Entire creation seems to be sentient due to the presence of a sentient thing. The creation is inert. The creation doesn't have the capacity to be alive. It's insentient. But it seems to be sentient due to the presence of this sentient reality. That being the real thing, that being self-evident and self-effulgent, the creation also seems to be alive, self-effulgent, self-evident. Really, because of its presence, our body continued to be alive in this world. Blood is flowing throughout the body. Eyes can see, ears can listen, tongue can talk and eat. I can take some books in my hand. There is a strength in my hand. By whose presence? Because of this presence of all-pervasive Lord. If there is no presence of all-pervasive Lord, the body will be inert. That is what been told by Tasya Bhasa Sarvamitam Vibhati. This is the meaning of this 15th verse of this second section. Now we will go to the third section of the second chapter of Upanishad, which will be the last phase of this Upanishad. Lord Death resembles this entire creation as a tree. Example in a topic is to understand the subject matter without having an effort for the brain. More simple it will be to understand. That's why examples are often quoted everywhere in a serious topic. Here also, this entire creation is represented by a tree. We will read that verse and we will see how much it is tricky, which is given by the Lord Death to Nachiketas. ऊर्ध्वमूलमवाक्षाकः येषो अश्वत्थः सनातनः तदेव शुक्रं तदेव ब्रह्म तदेव अमृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकाः श्रुताः सर्वे तदु नात्येति कश्चन एतद् वैतत्. Once more I read. ऊर्ध्वमूलमवाक्षाकः येषोऽश्वत्थः सनातनः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्म तदेव ममृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकाः श्रुताः सर्वे तदु न अत्येति कश्चन एतद् वैतत्. The entire creation is represented in a tree called Ashwatham, banyan tree. Why Lord Death represents this creation as a banyan tree? Ashwathaha means banyan tree. Banyan tree have a unique feature. Once it get matured, from the branches, the roots will slowly sprout and come towards the earth. First, after the dropping of a bird, the seed of the Ashwatha tree, banyan tree will sprout. So from the root, there will be a stem, there will be leaves, then again it will become a plant, branches, and it will become a tree. After becoming a matured tree, from the branches, the roots will start to grow towards the earth. So it will become just like a circle if you represent a banyan tree. From the root, the stem came, leaves came, branches came, roots came. Matured tree will again witness another era of from the stems, the roots will start to grow towards the earth. Then it will become like a circle. From the root, branches came. From the branches, roots came. Again, it will touch the root and it will become like a ring. A representation, that's all. For the sake of understanding. Don't ask more questions regarding the example. Every example will have some limitations. Here, we consider the whole creation like a circle. This is the one thing which we need from the banyan tree. Other thing is that every tree will have some seeds and which we call fruits. Every tree will bear its own fruit. Phalam. In this creation, if you do an action, you will have an appropriate result, respective result. Karma phalam in Sanskrit. Any action done by human being is called karma, and from the karma, you will get a karma phalam. Any action which you do in this creation will yield a result. So these two things we need. Creation is represented in the form of a tree because one is banyan tree will be always having from the root the stems come out, and from the stems and branches the roots will come down. Then it will become like a circle. The entire thing become a circle. And every tree will have some fruits, karma phalam. These two things keeping in the mind, we will see what Lord Death given through this verse to Nachiketas. 5-year-old boy is listening. So he has to say the subject matter through some examples which is familiar in this world. So here he saw that the entire creation is just like an Ashwatha tree, the banyan tree. One is, don't go behind which date the creation started. Creation is beginningless. There is no exact date for creation. In a circle, there is no starting point. Correct? That is called anadihi. In Sanskrit, beginningless. The creation cannot be analyzed, and we cannot take an appropriate date when this creation started. People who are working in different sciences may arrive at a conclusion and they will give an exact date that creation started in this date. We are not behind what is there in the creation and when the creation started. There is no personal connection for these things. What I get benefited by knowing the exact date of creation? You should tell me. Is there any purpose of knowing the exact date? Suppose an astrologer tells you, in the previous birth you were a donkey. After knowing this, what is the purpose of knowing? You tell me. My previous birth have different things. After knowing that, what I can do about the previous things? Similarly, after knowing the date of exact the creation started, what is the purpose of knowing that? By knowing that date, what I can do? So people do a lot of analysis. People are interested when the creation started, how it started. Lot of things are there. I want to tell you, my spiritual friends, don't go behind analyzing when the creation started. It is just like, magician have a cap in his head. He keep his cap in the table. And if you put a hand inside that cap, you will get a rabbit. Sometimes you will get a ball. Sometimes you will get a glass, a specs. Anything can come out of his cap because it's magician's cap. We cannot predict exactly what is going to come out of the magician's cap. Correct? Similarly, creation is a superimposition on the reality. Everybody have their own perception towards creation. We don't know how they see through their eyes. I have some vision through my eyes. Everybody differ from one to one. So here Dayananda used to say, Maya mein bahut hai. In Maya, there are a lot of things. Don't go behind analyzing when the exact creation started. What are the first thing came out of the creation? All these things, nothing to do with our purushartha. There is no connection with my goal. When something is not connected with my aim or goal, it's waste of time. So Lord Death want to tell to Nachiketas, creation being beginningless like a circle. No need to analyze more about the creation, how it happened, how a girl came, how a man came, how these animals came into being. Science have certain limitations, and science having certain discoveries. They can do whatever they want. It's okay to study. We are not interested on that topic, and we don't condemn that. Every knowledge is appreciable. A lot of hard work is there behind everything. A lot of time has been spent for that. I should not put down by criticizing over. You are a spiritual aspirant. Your goal is different, to free from this creation, from these worries, from these sufferings, from all kinds of issues which you are facing, with all kind, to be free from all kinds of limitations like body, etc. This is my aim, correct? When we are having this aim in our mind, there is no need of analyzing which is the exact date when the creation started. What is the point of arriving that exact date? So, in a ring, in a circle, there is no a beginning. There will be no beginning point. Similarly, this creation is anadi, beginningless. When I started, when the Lord started His first creation, there's no point of analyzing all these things in our life. Creation is anadi, beginningless. This is the one point which we have to take from this representation of tree as its circle. Banyan tree represents a circle form. From the root, the stems came. From the stems, branches and fruits came. Again, from the branches, the roots came. And from the root, again, the branch stems come out. So it's being a circle. Circle don't have a exact starting point. Similarly, creation doesn't have an exact starting point. Anadihi, beginningless. This is the first point. Another point is, this creation is very attractive. Everything seems to be attractive. A man will be attracted towards a woman. A parrot will be attracted towards a fruit. A dog will be attracted towards another dog. A beautiful dress will attract a person who is really in need of that. Each and every point of this creation is very attractive. Lot of things are there. And when I connect my life individually or personally with that thing, I identify myself, it is a need in my life. I work for that. When I put a proper effort in order to get a proper result, I will achieve my result. Karma palam is the result, and the proper karma is my action. The creation is full of actions and results, karma and karma pala. Of course, a tree represents a lot of fruits. Tree is supposed to bear a lot of fruits. Each and every fruit will represent our karma pala, the results which are being yielded by me through my actions. So creation is packed with actions, a lot of actions. Everybody has their own effort and actions, correct? They are working from the morning to evening. People are engaged with different actions in order to achieve their own goals. That is why Lord Death told us, Urdhamulam avakshakaha ashwattaha. Urdhamulam, having the roots on the head, avakshakaha, and the stems on the bottom. The tree Ashwatha represents the creation. So, this tree, the entire creation samam banyan tree. This tree have lot of fruits, results, karma pala. And in order to get these fruits, results, we have an action connected with that results. So creation is beginningless. In this creation, lot of things seems to be attractive. All these are not real attraction. Because we are having a body in this creation, we accept that I am having a body in this creation. It seems to be connected with me. Anything which I see or which I listen, I connect with that. Oh, I want this. Thus, we get attracted. Really speaking, any superimposed thing in the life doesn't have any attraction. When you know the reality, when you know what is real in this world, there is no attraction for anything in this world. Any attraction is a base of ignorance. When you have a lot of ignorance, everything seems to be attractive in this world. You get connected with the things. So here, karma phalam, lot of fruits are there in this tree, in this creation. If you want to buy a TV in the creation, you should have money. In order to get money, you put a proper effort through an action called job. You want some children. This is your aim in the creation. In order to get children, you have to marry. In order to get married, you need money, house, etc., etc. What are the things which are connected with a married life? So you need to put effort. Appropriate effort will make you the things possible. So karma and karma pala. So entire creation have a lot of actions, and the entire creation have a lot of karma pala, the results also. That is why it is represented in the form of Ashwatham, a banyan tree. And this circle also having another implied meaning. Shrishti is Anadi. Once I told you. We will, within 5 minutes, we will conclude the first line of the, and we will discuss in the next class. Just one more point I have to say. Srishti is beginningless. We know that. At the same time, this culture, dharma, moral values, all these whatever we do as our customs in this creation, in this culture. When you come to India, you see that a temple will have a lot of customs. In the household life, lot of customs are there. When somebody guest comes into our house, there is a custom to receive and what are the things to give. Everywhere you see a lot of customs based on scriptures. This culture is indigenous. This culture is beginningless. Vedas, the traditional scriptures are being beginningless. All our entire culture, we call it dharma, is also beginningless. From where this custom we got, from where this ritual we got, it's from Vedas. Vedas doesn't have author. It is apaurushayam, not a creation or a book written by somebody. I have mentioned a lot of times in the previous classes. Vedas are not written by anybody. From the immemorial past onwards, there is no beginning for Vedas. So too, there is no beginning for these customs, which are always new. Even a new baby is born in a house, in a traditional house. There are certain rituals to be done towards the forces of this creation. So certain other activities also there, namakaran, giving a name with a lot of customs. Similarly, if you will see in our tradition lot of customs all around us, which are very much connected with our survival in this world happening. These customs, which will help a person to reach the destination without having any issues, are called Sanatana Dharma, which is always new, which doesn't have a starting point, which is beginningless. So the entire creation is packed with this Sanatana Dharma also. Lot of duties, if you properly do that duties according to the guidance of traditional teachers and traditional scriptures, you will reach the destination properly. This Sanatana Dharma, which is ever new from the immemorial past onwards, this is also being represented by this Urdhamula Mavakshagaha, through this ring, which is beginningless. So all the customs doesn't have a standpoint, doesn't have a beginning, a starting point. It is also beginningless, anati, sanatanam. And sanatanam represents the base of this entire creation, Brahman also, which we will talk in the next class. I am going to explain this verse because this verse is very important. The same verse is being quoted by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita also. I want to give you more explanation. This is only an entrance toward this verse. I will give you more explanation in the next class. We will conclude. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayandam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Brahmanebhya Shupamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshadu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Shoparihitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Suginaha Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhavet Sato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamata Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om